Good evening, children. Welcome to the online class, first language English, 9th standard, third lesson, the collectors. The collectors is a one-act play about the encounter of a group of teachers and children on an adventure walk in a lonely countryside with two aliens. The aliens have taken the form of humans, and hence the group takes shelter in the spaceship, mistaking it for a house. Now you see here the first page. So can you make out, then look at the picture above? Can you identify the objects in it? What are they called? They are called flying saucers, isn't it? We have heard like that. Have you come across them anywhere? No. Why? Who uses them? Because we think aliens are using them. That is the people from other planets. Activity. Then look at this picture. This is the picture of a human. If now, what makes you think of? So, how does this alien differ from humans? Because it is not looking like a human face. Something different from our face. Okay. Now, read the play to find out how aliens try to abduct some humans and what happened to them. Yes, Pete, Carol, Tracy, Glenn, Wayne, Dawn. So these 6 children, Mr. Hunt, Miss Swan, and Mrs. Jones and Mrs. Brown. Mrs. Jones, these 3 are teachers, and Mr. and Mrs. Brown. And here. And Mrs. Brown. These 2 are occupants of the house. Now, scene, that is lonely countryside. The children were out for an adventurous walk with the teachers. It's raining hard. Miss Swan is telling children, isn't there somewhere we can take shelter? That is, isn't there somewhere we can shelter? That is, she is asking him, Miss Teacher is asking him some place to take shelter. Mr. And not until we get to the village. Mrs. Jones, how far is it? Mr. Hunt, nearly 3 miles. Dawn, 3 miles. Tracy, I am soaked. Miss Swan, the children are getting very wet. Mr. Hunt, I can't help that. We'll just have to press on. Pete, can't we shelter over there, sir? Mr. Hunt, where? Pete, there, in that house. Mr. Hunt, that isn't a house, surely. Hard to see in all the rain. Miss Hunt, of course it is. Try wiping your glasses. Mr. Hunt, you are right. Lonely place to choose for a house. It certainly wasn't there when I was here walking last summer. Mrs. Jones, funny looking place. Miss Swan, are we just going to stand here in the downpour gaping at it? Dawn, yes, can't we go up there and ask for shelter, sir? Mr. Hunt, we can't take all you crowd into a private house. You are dripping wet. Mrs. Jones, there's probably a shed or a garage. We could shelter there. Miss Swan, we can at least ask. Wayne, yes sir, why not? Tracy, I am freezing. Mr. Hunt, oh, all right. Now the scene over. Here, it is raining heavily and Mr. Swan wonders whether they could get a shelter, but Mr. Hunt replies that they could get a shelter only after reaching the village, which is 3 miles away. It is at this point that the group sees a house. The strangeness of the house is apparent right from the beginning. Mrs. Jones says that is a funny looking. Mr. Hunt remarks that isn't there when he had been there the previous summer. However, since the children are wet and cold, they decide to approach the house for shelter. And they also think that if it is embarrassing to ask for shelter for so many of them, they would take shelter in the shed. So the next scene, Mrs. Brown, that is standing with all the children and the teachers. Now they got inside the house. Mr. Brown then comes in through the outer door. So Mr. Brown is entering, and Mr. Brown, oh, I have hung up all the wet clothing in the porch. Mr. Hunt, I don't know why I'm still holding this walking stick. Mr. Brown, give it to me. I will put it outside with the other things. Mr. Hunt, it's all right. I will hang it on the back of this chair. Mrs. Brown, now that we have all introduced ourselves, why don't you children sit down? Mr. Brown, and the grown-ups can come through into the room, into the sitting room. Mrs. Brown, you children will be all right here, won't you? There isn't room enough there for everyone. Carol, yes, thanks. Glenn, oh yes. Then Pete, we'll be fine. Mrs. Jones, thank you very much for taking us in like this. And Mr. Brown, our pleasure. Mrs. Brown, there is a fresh pot of tea made in the other room. Would you like a cup? Miss Swan, I would love one. Mrs. Jones, so would I. And Mrs. Brown, would you like to come through then? And Mr. and Mrs. Brown and the three teachers go out. The children are silent for a moment or two, looking round. Wayne, you can't hear any sound of that wind in here. Tracy, so no, it is terribly quiet. Weird. Don, I can just hear their voices in the sitting room. Glenn, it's cold in here too. Wayne, maybe we feel cold because we are tired from all that walking. Tracy, and we did get wet. Glenn, no, not just that, it is cold. Pete, and empty. This kitchen reminds me of a hospital. Where do they wash up? Don, in the sink. Tracy, there's nothing like that. Carol, there is nothing standing about either. No plates, no pots and pans. Things like that. Don, oh, they will put away in cupboards. So Wayne opens the cupboard. Near the back door. Wayne, this one's quite empty. Don, don't go poking about, Wayne. Pete opens the fridge door. Pete, there's nothing at all in this fridge. And the light's not on. It is not even working. Tracy, leave things alone. You too. It's cheeky to snoop besides. They might come in and catch you. Carol, I thought there was something a bit strange about Mr. and Mrs. Brown. Pete, funny, you should say that. So did I. Glenn, perhaps they are crooks. This is their hideout. Tracy, they would hardly have let us in if they were crooks, wouldn't they? Don, no, that is silly. Carol, when she closed the cupboard, I looked. She has 7 fingers on both the hands. Oh, horrid. I was watching her eyes. Yes, as far as I could see, they are all one color. They didn't have any black sort of a center. Wayne, go on. She could be something weird like a vampire. Tracy, oh, shut up. Don, yes, shut up. You are making all this up to scare us. Pete, no, we are not. Tracy, I don't want to stay here. Wayne, I will tell you something that rain has changed to thick fog outside. I've been watching it. Glenn, yes, you can't see anything out of that window. Carol, no, I hope it doesn't mean we are going to have to stay here all night. Tracy, stay here all night, not me. Don, I don't fancy what either. Let's go. Glenn, we can't just slide off. Pete, I will go and tell Mr. Hunt and others how we feel. He goes out. Then Wayne, it's all a bit mysterious. I wonder what is in that other cupboard. Don, leave it alone. Tracy, if she catches you, she will be mad. Then Wayne, she won't catch me. Then he opens the cupboard. He opens the cupboard. That is behind it are dials, digital readouts, colored lights, and a mass of other electronic equipment. Glenn, what on earth is all that doing there? Wayne, is it some kind of a computer? Carol, those things are the figures or words. Glenn, some kind of foreign language. They say, look at all those lights. It's real space age stuff. What could it be for? Spying? You think so? Close the door. Someone is opening. Someone is coming now. They close the door, but it doesn't quite shut. No. So what happened so far? However, they are welcomed by the inmates of the house and Mrs. and Mr. Brown. The grown-ups are taken to the sitting room and they also offer tea. But after the three teachers and the inmates of the house have gone to the sitting room, the children start feeling uncomfortable. They find the house to be strange as it is terribly quiet and cold and there is no wind at all. And they also find everything empty as though the house is not being used at all. The children wonder whether the Browns have put up all the things in the cupboard. But when they look into the cupboard, they find the cupboard empty. The fridge is not working because no lights are there. Even as Don and Tracy warn Wayne and Pete not to snoop around, Carol remarks that she finds the Browns strange. The children come to the conclusion that the Browns are crooks and the house is their hideout. They close the door but doesn't quite shout. Now Pete comes back. So what he's telling? And this point Mrs. Brown comes back and she finds the cupboard open. And she wants the children not to mess around. And she also offers the explanation. They are yet to open the packs and to put things in their place as they had just moved into a new place. She even offers orange juice to the children and leaves the room, warning the children once again not to touch the cupboards. However, the suspicion of the children grows. They even notice that she has 7 fingers each on her 2 hands. They also find her eyes strange as they don't seem to have the pupil. The children feel that it's better for them to leave the place and hence Pete goes to meet the teachers. Now, Wayne meanwhile, curious about the second cupboard. Though Don and Tracy warn Wayne not to touch the cupboard, Wayne opens the cupboard and the children are surprised to see dials, digital and readouts, colored lights and electronic equipment in the cupboard. At this point, Pete returns and increases the discomfort of the children by sharing with them his doubt that the teachers were drugged. Now here, Peter, I think we need help. Carol, what did Mr. Hunt say? Nothing, he couldn't. Pete, I went quietly. I was a bit scared. The door of the other room was partly open. I saw Mr. Hunt first, sitting there, not moving, staring at nothing. Glenn, you mean he was thinking about something or he was tired? No, I do not. He was drugged. Miss Swan and Mrs. Jones are the name. I crept a bit closer, then I could see them too. They were sitting there, blank as if they had been turned to stone. And Mr. and Mrs. Brown, they were looking at them and I don't know, talking. What were they talking? What were they saying? No idea. They weren't really talking. It sounded they were just sort of hissing and clicking at each other. Fraser, I want to get out of here. I'm getting out right now. Then he goes to the back door and tries to open it. It is locked. There is no key. Let me try. No, it just won't open. How about the window? Wayne tries the window. No chance. It won't move. Smash the glass. We have got to get out. Carol, here. Try Mr. Hunt's walking stick. Use that, Wayne. Wayne tries to break the glass with a stick. It won't break. He hits the glass again. It just bounces off. Let me try, Glenn is telling. He takes the walking stick and uses it. It is no use. The glass is like steel. Come on, we'll see if there is a way out through the front. So far, what happened? At that point, Pete returns and increases the discomfort of the children by sharing with them. That is his doubt. What is that? The teachers are drugged. He reveals that the three teachers had sat motionless, looking some other thing, and Browns are communicating with each other in a strange way, that is hissing and clicking at each other. And the children, who are by now more and more uncomfortable, decide to get out of the house. But Wayne finds the back door locked and there is no key. The same is true of the window also. And they are not able to break it open with the Mr. Hunt's stick, as the glass is like a steel. They are not able to break it open with the Mr. Hunt's stick. And what they think? They decide to look for a way out to the front. Now, who comes? They begin to crowd towards the kitchen door when Mrs. Brown then comes in with a tray of drinks. Mrs. Brown, good heavens, what is all this now? What on earth have you children been doing? We want to live. In this fog, how can you? What have you done to Mr. Hunt and the others? Done nothing. They have been having a cup of tea. Pete says, you have drugged them. Nonsense. Where in the world did you get that idea? She notices the cupboard left partly open. I do wish you would have the courtesy not to interfere with these cupboards. That is that stuff in there. What is that stuff in there? What do you mean stuff? It is electronic equipment. It belongs to my husband. He is a scientist. It's a part of his work. And why is the back door locked? It always locks when you close it. It's a burglar-proof lock. The windows are burglar-proof too. My husband doesn't want to run the risk of having any expensive equipment stolen. And they have been trying to scare us, saying there is something strange about this house and about you. And next, who dare you? After we have taken you in and looked after you, after I have gone through the trouble of getting these drinks for you, the least you can do is to sit quietly and drink them. I bet they are drugged, just like the tea you gave Mr. Hunt and others. Now, just to stop that kind of talk. I saw them. You have got them in the other room, drugged. You saw nothing of the sort. They are all chatting to Mr. Brown right now. Ask them to come in here, then so we can see them. Certainly not. I'm not dragging them in here just because of a lot of children is silly fantasies. Well, let us go in there and see them. No, you don't. I'm not going to be ordered about by children. No, by when he finds a back door locked, then there is no key. The same is true of the window also. So they are also not able to open it with Mr. Hunt's stick as the glass. When they hit it with the Mr. Hunt's stick, then the glass, it was like a steel. It was not breaking. Even as they decide to look for a way out through the front, Mrs. Brown returns with a tray of drinks. The children confront her directly and ask her what she has done to their teachers. And she refutes the allegation that they have drugged the teachers. The next one is, when the children ask her about the strange things in the cupboard, she tells them that Mr. Brown is a scientist and it is his electronic equipment. And she gives the explanation that the door and the window are burglar proof. At this point, Tracy blurts out that the children have found the house and the inmates to be stained. Then Mrs. Brown, then she goes out, and even Mrs. Brown, she takes offense. Pete confronts her and asks her to take them to the sitting room. And Mrs. Brown, in response, offers to get one of the teachers to where they are. 1 second, Tracy and Don believe Mrs. Brown and start by blaming Pete for unnecessarily scaring them. Then, next one, he tells, that is here, that is Don, see, she is going to bring them, then they aren't drugged at all. You are trying to scare us. You are stupid, Pete. It is an ordinary house and they are ordinary people. Frightening us like that, you are rotten. I know what I saw. Give us that walking stick, Glenn. Here you are. As Glenn gives the Pete the stick, both Mr. and Mrs. Brown come in. Where is Mr. Hunt? He won't be coming and you had a better drink. Don't anybody touch that snuff. It will make no difference. You can't escape anyway. Oh no, come in, Glenn, let us get past them. And right, he and Wayne make a rush for the door. One of Mrs. Brown brushes them away and they are sent flying across the kitchen. Stop that, we don't want any of you damaged. And either one of us alone is more than a match for any 5 feeble earth children. If you try to keep us here, the police will come looking for us. Well, they won't find you. You are going away. No, where are you taking us? Shall I tell them? Why not? It might calm them to know where there is no avoiding them fate. There is no avoiding them fate. There is no avoiding their fate. We were talking you to our home planet. Home planet? So this is, they are taking them to their home planet. We are taking you to our home planet. Home planet, you are not from Earth. You are aliens, exactly. But you are humans. You look human. We can take on any shape we wish. For a time, so can our spaceship. At that moment, as you have seen, it looks like an Earth house, very useful for our mission. In a few moments, we shall convert it into a spaceship again and return to our normal shape. So you had better drink. It will make the shock of takeoff easier for you. But you mustn't take us. You can't. How wrong you are. But why us? Why pick on us? You are available. We collect creatures from other worlds like you. Why? What for? For experiment and scientific study, you will be useful to us. Oh no, we won't. And flinging the cupboard door open, Peter holds up the walking stick, two-handed. Come one step nearer and I smash this equipment. No, do nothing yet. Too dangerous. Grab a chair, Glenn, and come over here. If they so much as move, smash all this. Right. He joins Pete with the chair raised and ready. Smash any parts of those panels and you can kill us all. I will take that chance. Carol, you and the rest get near that outer door. Yes, come on, you lot, quick. Now all the children except Pete and Glenn cluster against the door to the outside. They are only children and we can rush them, attack. No, they are wild, keep still. We can't let this happen, beaten by inferior creatures. We must. If they break any part of that equipment, we are stranded here on Earth. We can do no repairs here. You go and bring Mr. Hunt and the others out here. Pete taps the panel with the stick and then swings it back for a real blow. Go and fetch them. Mr. Brown goes out. You, how do we open the back door and the door in the porch? Yes, all right. Is that control down there on the left? It's marked with yellow light. Press it. Don't trust her, Pete. I won't listen if those doors open at once. Glenn and I start wrecking. I'm telling the truth. Press the control. Press it. Watch her, Glenn. And if this is a trick, use that chair. Don't you worry, mate. Then Peter presses the control and the doors open. It's all right, Pete. It worked. Mr. Hunt, Miss Swan, and Mrs. Jones stagger dazedly into the room. Mr. Brown is behind them. Help them, get them outside, and we will away from the house. And what's about you? Don't worry, get going. The children help the adults out through the back door and leaving Pete and Glenn facing Mr. and Mrs. Brown. What now, Pete? They nab us as we run for it? No, they won't. I have got a plan. You go first. Not without you. Winda underestimated these creatures. They were never so fierce before. They were all drugged before. Go through the other door behind you and close it. And if you refuse, and you will be sorry. He taps the panel again with the stick. Do as he says, quickly. We have no choice. The two aliens go out and close the door behind them. And fun for it. Glenn, now, right. Glenn and Pete dash for the back door and disappear through the now scene. That's Moulin. A little later, the whole party is sitting on the grass. It's neither raining nor foggy. The sun is out. Mrs. Jones, I can't believe any of it. So that's all. And what is happening now? And here, Mrs. Brown returns with Mr. Brown instead of Mr. Hunt and orders the children to drink the juice. They refuse to do, and prompted by Pete, because Pete only tells them not to drink. When Glenn and Wayne try to escape, they are sent flying across the kitchen by Mrs. Brown. The children learn the truth one by one. And when the children tell Mr. Brown that they cannot be kidnapped as the police would look for them, Mr. Brown tells that they are aliens who have taken the human shape, and the shelter also looked like a house, that is Earth house, that will be converted into a spaceship and they will be ready to take off. He adds that the children can't anyway escape if they were to drink the juice, so he would lessen the shock of the takeoff of the spaceship. So he tells a secret that children were collected for the sake of the experiments and the scientific study. Just then, Pete's presence of mind saves the children and the teachers. How? He had seen the equipment being stored in the cupboard, so he knew that the aliens needed it badly. So he stands near the cupboard with a walking stick and threatening that he would smash the equipment in the cupboard. He takes the help of Wayne in controlling the aliens. And he tells Wayne to be ready with a chair to destroy everything in the cupboard if the aliens disobey his orders. And he makes Mr. Brown then closing the door that is behind them, and after they go out, he tells them to go out, and here after they go out of the door, he runs out with the Wayne and escapes being abducted by the aliens. Thus Peter has clarity of thought even in crisis and saves not only by himself but also his friends and teacher. Now after a while, the group is surprised to realize that it's neither raining nor foggy and the sun is out. The house itself is not there. It is as if they had imagined their encounter with the aliens. There is a difference of opinion about the report in the matter. Some like Tracy feel that nobody would believe them. Some like Mr. Hunt feel that the matter should be reported, especially since people were disappeared. He feels that there should be a warning. The play comes to an end even as the group continues to argue over the matter.